I post this video on the eve of the beginning of the greatest football league in the world. No, it's not the Premier League, La Liga, the Bundesliga, Serie A, or the one that isn't even worth mentioning. I'm talking about football in its purest possible form. I'm talking about an equal amount of action both on and off the pitch. I'm talking about the pride and joy of one of the most influential footballing nations in the world. I'm talking about the Scottish Premiership. Last week, I decided that I wanted this season to be the one that I get my mates hooked on Scottish football. So I did what I do whenever I'm unsure about anything in life. I went to Scottish Football Reddit, and I was met with an overwhelmingly positive response. No, but for real, 99.99% of everyone was lovely, and to be honest, I didn't even plan on making this a video at first. I was just going to be something I'd tell my mates about. But once I discovered all the gold that everybody contributed to the thread, I realized it would be rude to not make it into a video. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can you get behind a league in which the same two teams win every year? Well, first of all, you'd be wrong for thinking that. The same two teams don't win every year. Rangers have only won once in the past 10 years. And second of all, once you watch Motherwell and Hibernian take each other on a 12-goal thriller, that title race will be the last thing on your mind. The Scottish Prem has it all. We have some of the most decorated clubs in Europe, and then we have stadiums that hold 7,000 people. We have derbies in one of the world's most prestigious footballing cities, as well as away day treks up to the Highlands. Scotland may be a small nation, but its passion for football is like nothing else you'll find anywhere in the world. It's not like the SPFL is some sort of humorous attraction that serves as something to laugh at, but rather the opposite. Unbridled passion and tradition meets with pure entertainment and adoration of having a good time to create the beautiful thing we know as Scottish football. And once you see it for yourself, it's hard to look at any other league in the world the same way ever again. The Scottish Premiership, as we know it, was founded in 2013, when the Scottish Premier League and Scottish Football League merged to form the SPFL. However, league football began in Scotland in 1890, making it the second oldest league in the world. And this is something I was made aware of by the Reddit, but Scotland has the highest percentage of attendance compared to the nation's population of any other country in the world. The total attendance of the 2023-24 season was 3.7 million. Scotland has around 5.4 million people in total. Today we're going to look at some of the greatest instances to occur in Scottish football. Whether it be the days of the SPFL, the days of Henrik Larsson, or the days of Alex Ferguson, there's plenty to uncover in the world of football in Scotland. We're going all the way back to 1982 for this one, with an up-and-coming manager by the name of Alex Ferguson. He was the manager of Aberdeen FC. Ferguson led Aberdeen to a Scottish Cup victory the year before, and because of this he qualified for the European Cup Winners' Cup. These days, you might just think the UEFA Super Cup, but it was different at this point. This was a tournament contested between the winners of domestic cups across Europe and ran from 1960 to 1999. Aberdeen qualified for the knockout rounds after facing Swiss side Sion, Albanian side Dinamo Tirana, and Polish side Lech Poznan in the earlier rounds. They had an affair with a little club by the name of Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals, a tie in which they emerged victorious with a 3-2 scoreline in the second leg after a scoreless first leg. They beat Belgian side Walterschei after a convincing 5-1 win at home in the first leg of the semis, and were set to face Real Madrid in the final. They won 2-1, with goals from John Black and John Hewitt. Aberdeen claimed their first ever European title, and the trophy marked one of 10 that Ferguson won with Aberdeen. Believe it or not, this wouldn't be the only occurrence of a Scottish club taking down Europe's finest in the 80s. In 1987, Dundee United knocked FC Barcelona out of the UEFA Cup with a 3-1 scoreline over 2 legs of the quarterfinals. They went on to beat Borussia Mönchengladbach in the semis, and fell to Swedish side IFK Göteborg in a final that was contested over 2 legs with an aggregate scoreline of 2-1 to the Swedes. Fast forward to 1994, and Rangers are playing Raith Rovers at home. Duncan Ferguson decides to headbutt Raith man Jock McStay, and he wasn't booked for it, as the referee simply didn't see it. However, the court did see it, and Ferguson served 44 days in Barlinnie prison. To this day, he's the only professional player in Britain to do jail time for offense that happened on a football pitch. The Naughties saw some of the most iconic installments to the folklore of football in Scotland. The final day of the 2003 season was given the name Judgment Day. It was the closest title decider in the history of the division. Celtic won the league the year before and had spectacularly, somehow, the same points tally and goal difference heading to the final day of the season. Celtic had a convincing 4-0 win away at Kilmarnock, with Rangers' 6-1 home thrashing of Dunfermline Mid Athletic. Someone claimed their 50th league title, and to do so by a single goal. The title race 2 years later saw perhaps the most iconic moment in modern Scottish football. The final day of the 2004-2005 season was later dubbed as Helicopter Sunday. Celtic entered the match day 2 points clear of Rangers at the top of the league and faced Motherwell away. Rangers needed a win against Hibernian away, and for Motherwell to do them a favour or two. Both sides had 1-0 leads in the 88th minute, And if these results held, Celtic would have walked away with champions at the end of the day. Because both Celtic or Rangers could have won the league that day, they decided to transfer the trophy to whoever did emerge on top via helicopter, as the distance between Motherwell and Hibernian's home grounds only took about 20 minutes to travel via chopper. Because Celtic were 1-0 up with 2 minutes to go, the helicopter made its way to Motherwell's Fair Park. This is when the unthinkable happened. Motherwell striker Scott McDonald put out an unthinkable acrobatic volley with 2 minutes to go and sunk Celtic hearts when he made a brace for himself with another goal in the 19th. The iconic commentary line of "the helicopter is changing direction" will live forever in Scottish folklore. Rangers won the league, all thanks to their former manager and Motherwell boss at the time, Terry Butcher, who previously won 9 consecutive titles with Rangers. In come the 2010s, and the iconic moments, as well as the outright shenanigans, kept coming in thick and fast. On the 5th of May, 2010 saw the most high-scoring match in the history of the league. Motherwell hosted Hibernian at Fair Park, and the travelling side took the lead with an 11th-minute goal from Colin Nish. Motherwell responded with a 16th-minute strike from Giles Coke. However, an additional 2 goals from Nish and a strike from Derek Reardon between the two gave Hibs a comfortable 4-1 lead in the first half. John Sutton pulled him back from Motherwell on the 39th and made the scoreline 4-2 at the half. Hibs opened the scoring in the second half with a 56-minute strike from Anthony Stokes, who then made a brace for himself in the 65th minute. Hibs now had a comfortable 4-goal cushion for their 6-2 lead, and thought themselves in the driving seat with just 25 minutes to go. However, the home side had other idea. Giles Coke backed his second 2 minutes after Stokes' second goal, and Thomas Hatley carried on the momentum with another goal from Motherwell 5 minutes later. John Sutton scored a second in the 76th minute, and Hibs now had a fragile 1-goal lead with 14 minutes to go, after failing to respond to 3 goals away from home. The scoreline remained 6-5 when the clock ticked past the 90th minute. In the 3rd minute of stoppage time, Lukas Jakiewicz wrote his name in Scottish football folklore eternally. His equalizing strike for the home side was later compared to Marco van Basten's iconic volley in the final of Euro 88, and ensured that points were shared in one of the most dramatic matches in the history of Scottish football, and football in general. 12-goal thriller, 6-6, who else is doing that? If we can take anything from this video so far, we know that is saying quite a bit, the most dramatic match in the history of Scottish football. Each side emerged from a drama-infused footballing bloodbath with a point, and one that proved decisive, as Motherwell went on to qualify for Europe that season. In 2013, Motherwell's Michael Higdon was awarded the Player of the Year award for his campaign that saw 26 league goals and a club record 2 hat-tricks. Quite the achievement, to say the very least, and Higdon decided the best way to celebrate was by getting arrested for assault hours after receiving the award, and to never play for Motherwell ever again because of doing that. 1 year later, we have a rather dramatic Edinburgh derby. Hearts had gone to administration earlier that season, and Hibernian reveled in the fact that they could be the ones to send their bitter rivals down to the second division. Anything else would come as a surprise, as Hearts were fielding a team of youth players week in and week out, and really only playing for pride at that point. Hibs entered the derby with an attitude that it would be a relegation party for Hearts. Hearts defied all odds, and they came away with a 2-0 win. To make the narrative even greater, Hibs eventually went down that season, as well as Hearts, and it took them 3 years to be promoted again, whilst Hearts came right back up after 1 season. It was later dubbed as the Hibs Relegation Party Derby, a complete flip of the original narrative that haunts Hibs fans to this day. The 2016 Scottish Cup final had a brilliant narrative before a ball was even kicked. Rangers and Hibernian were both second-tier sides at the time. Rangers were amidst their long trek back to the top flight after entering administration 4 years later, and as we know from the 2014 Edinburgh Derby story, Hibs weren't exactly having the best fortunes at this point. Anthony Stokes opened the scoring with an early 3rd-minute strike. However, Rangers took the lead by the 64th minute with goals from Kenny Miller and Andy Halliday. Anthony Stokes, who had a brace in Hibs' iconic 6-6 draw with Motherwell 6 years earlier, brought home another equalizer with 10 minutes to go in the 80th minute. David Gray sent Hibs supporters into bedlam with the stoppage time winner, and his side went on to become the second ever second-tier side to win the Scottish Cup. It was also Hibernian's first Scottish Cup in 114 years. Ross County also deleted their own website a month before all this happened. I had no idea how to come up with a smooth transition for that, but I would just never forgive myself if I didn't somehow find a way to mention that in this video. 2017 was, in my opinion, the greatest year in the history of Scottish football. It started off in January with Rod Stewart doing the draw for the Scottish Cup while absolutely hammered. A month later, and Motherwell are playing Aberdeen. Motherwell manager Mark McGee was formerly the manager of Aberdeen, and he set a new record for the worst defeat in the league's history after falling to Celtic 9-0. His Motherwell were on the wrong side of a 7-2 scoreline to, you guessed it, Aberdeen, and he was sent to the stands after an argument with the referee. The fans were loving every second of it, and he showed at a fan who was filming him. The rest of the year saw even more pure stupidity. Rangers manager Graham Murty was seen doing a handstand while the side lost 2-1 to Dundee. A linesman vomited during a Kilmarnock vs Dundee game. A fan ran out of the stadium with the match ball whilst Rangers taking on Aberdeen. Celtic sent a message to the fans telling them to shower more often after receiving complaints about their smell. Hamilton lost £750,000 to a Nigerian prince scam. An Aberdeen winger, Gary Mackay-Steven, needed to be rescued by the fire brigade after he decided to celebrate a last-minute winner by jumping in a river. Although it's common to let nostalgia bias get in the way these days, let's not forget about the absolute gem Scottish football has given us in recent years. In 2023, an AI-powered camera mistaken the referee's bald head for the match ball, completely ruining the coverage of the game for any fans watching at home. Later that year, relegation threatened Arbroath were facing league leaders Wraith Rovers in the Scottish Championship. Backup goalkeeper Ali Adams came on as an outfield player due to injuries and went on to score a goal from 25 yards out. And earlier this year, Hearts striker Lauren Shankland caught and had a bite of a pie that was hurled at him by an angry Hibs fan after he converted a penalty in the Edinburgh Derby. Scottish football is something which is very close to my heart. There's just something about the passion, history, and tradition that merges with the silliness, stupidity, and sheer unpredictability that makes it like no other sporting experience in the world. This video is meant to pay homage to that and just celebrate everything great about Scottish football. I really hope I've done it justice. Thank you very much for watching this far. Please be sure to comment which story you liked the most. And a massive thank you to all the legends over on the Scottish football subreddit for providing such incredible insight. Especially the guy who called me a yank twat. That really made me laugh. Genuinely. I would tell you directly, but it appears your account's been banned. This video took a little while to make, so I'd really appreciate it if you drop a like and share it with a mate. Cheers for watching. I'm off to watch Motherwell vs Hibs 2010 highlights for the 70th time.